right, so welcome back, everyone. So got a few things in store here today for the Nova. And first of all, you guys know who I am. I'm Steve. This is my son, Lance. He is a Army vet, which I'm very proud of, and for about 5.5 years. And he is also into cars just as serious as I am. What kind of cars have you had? Yeah, like the Chevy S10.
S10, 77 Volkswagen bus, couple of motorcycles, my 64 Buick Electra that I miss.
Yeah. And you're working on now
A 64 Falcon.
Right. Kind
putting
of a resto mod
yeah.
sort of deal. Right?
Putting a 302 in it, modernizing it, trying to get injection, cruise control, things of that nature.
So look at where I'm at. You know, I've got this garage here and stuff. You saw the video of doing the floor. Son and I doing the entire floor in here, which is really a dream come true for me. About 4 years ago, I stood on that hill outside and looked out here. There was nothing but grass, and I said one day there's going to be a garage out there, and I'm going to have a Nova in there that I had many years ago, and I told you guys about it before. It was a 70 True SS, had the 350 in there, 4-volt main, 375 horse, and obviously I didn't get the original one back, but I got this one. This is the 72, and as you already know, I put the LS motor in there, and I'll show you some of that stuff where all the parts are. But basically what I did with this, and some of the reasons that I did it, was that I converted it from the 350 to the LS engine, and all of the parts that I took off of this car, including the wheels, the bench seat that was in it. You've seen the videos of the entire interior conversion that I did on it, and
Which is
the dash work and
perfect
everything.
interior.
But every single part that I took off this car is up there in the attic. So
Even the tires are up there?
yeah, man. Yep, tires, yeah, ready to bolt on, inflate it, ready to rock and roll. All the rally wheels. But everything is up there. I don't want to destroy a car, right? You know, because this is a classic car. And
Well, it's
I
not
just-
like cut, toss, throw away, and go from there. You want to hold on to the old
Right.
nostalgia stuff.
yeah, so I did not modify anything in this car that I could not put right back to the way it was. Right. All the suspension work that I did, except for the drive shaft, was shortened by 1 inch, but we can put that right back to normal length if we wanted to. But so
And like the brake system, the suspension
Oh, yeah.
system,
Yeah.
like all these things have been
I mean, we got
upgraded.
discs on the front here now that are conversion. These are the drilled wheel wood on the front
Mhm.
and the right stuff, rear disc on the back.
For
Got
sure.
some video of that stuff. And had the drums on the back. Those are up in the attic. Everything,
Yeah.
everything that would go with this car. But if anyone was to buy the car, I was to sell it, which ain't never gonna happen. Right. This car ain't going anywhere
Yeah.
except to him.
Oh yeah.
So, and then when you're done with it, goes
Oh
with
yeah. It'll,
Right.
it'll keep on doing the trickle
Stays in the
effect.
family.
For sure.
Stays
For
in the
sure.
family, yeah.
This will forever be a Tudor family Nova, through and through, and just keep on going.
Far too much meaning.
Oh, without a
Buying
doubt.
this car.
Without a doubt. And then for us to drive this on Sunday when we did, I haven't driven a car with this much power and this much, I guess, sentimental value in quite a while. And so when my dad gave me the opportunity to drive this car, I mean, you gotta just pedal to the metal and see what it can do.
And I'll tell you this, he did not wait around
No.
to give it the test.
As soon as I turned right on the stop sign, I was all, let's get after it.
Yeah.
And,
And you shifted so well. And it took off and
I'm
nailed
telling
it
you, yeah.
really well.
The
And
last time I drove a stick was my bus, and that's super sloppy, and it's all right here, and you're looking right at it's a completely.
And I didn't know
different
any of that
Oh, yeah.
until after you had already got into it and let it rip.
Oh,
I said,
yeah.
oh, shit, you really
It's
When's the
kind-
last time we drove one? About 20
Senior
years ago.
in high school was when I had that bus. So, and everybody says, oh, it's like a motor or like a bike and all that, but with
And that's
this,
when I thought, like,
Yeah.
I probably should have asked you that before I let you rip on it.
Oh, yeah.
But you totally have to, like, you
Oh,
have
no,
all the
it's
experience in
perfect.
the world.
well,
You hold it straighter than I do.
this training and this power, everything, it's the combo, the way everything is set up. And I've told you this once again, since I've been here, is that you're doing it right, do it right the first time. You don't ever have to go back and hate double work. So to do what we're doing now
Too much like me.
is nothing more than upgrades. It's not like as if the heads took a crap and now we're replacing them or we threw a valve or whatever. This is strictly to get more oomph, more bang for the buck, so to speak.
Yeah.
But this is driving this car on Sunday was perfect. Slice of heaven was
Pretty
really
epic.
and she handles so nicely. And I also feel like people forget what it feels like to drive a stiff car, to feel every bit of its power, even down to the brakes or the grip or the tires or the takeoff, the handling, the
The
swaying.
rumble. or
the rumble,
whatever,
the sound.
The feel of the road, yeah.
Yeah, people are like, no, let me get my Tesla.
Yeah.
Or no,
Total
yeah,
sensation
man.
overload.
Yeah. Well, for people that are definitely car enthusiasts, they know the deal. I'm preaching to the choir, but this was definitely a very tremendously good feeling for me to drive this car. Let
And for
alone
me to sit back and let you drive.
Oh yeah,
And
Dude.
I'm over there and I'm filming you and stuff like that.
for sure. For my dad to be on the other side watching me drive this car when he had this car when I was born, and circumstances came up, car had to go, whatever. But to have that back and then to sit in the seat, the passenger seat, watching me drive it now, I'm sure it was a very nostalgic feeling. And so I cannot
Right,
tell you.
because there's like there's 35 years.
Oh yeah, of a gap of not having your baby, so to speak.
Right.
And then to be able to find the opportunity to get back on the horse with that.
They have this back. and
Oh,
you
for
in
sure. Yeah, and then with me in it,
it was
beautiful,
over the
beautiful
top.
feeling.
Over the top.
And for both of us, of course, he'll share videos, and I'm trying to hold it together as well, because and then you don't want to look at the camera while he's filming you, but you just, and then you got to hold your composure. But literally, that feeling was awesome. Very cool for me to drive with you also in the passenger seat.
Unforgettable.
In this car specifically. Yeah, definitely. And so, and now, we're tell them about the heads, that we're putting on.
Yeah, so we'll give you a little walk around here and show you what we're doing. Okay, so the original heads are these guys here, and these are the 317 heads. Came stock on the LQ4 6.0 liter block that's in the Nova now, right? So these were never reconditioned, no valve job on them. You could put a light underneath and see daylight through the valve seats. It was pretty horrific. But I did beef up the valve springs. They're dual coil springs, but probably a bit too tough for the cam and the kind of drivability that I want. It's overkill is basically what it is. That's way overkill. So to the new ones, these new ones are 799 heads. Okay, these guys have much larger ports, excellent springs on them, and these are from Matt Happel, and you guys all know Matt Happel from Sloppy Mechanics. So these are 600 lift valve springs. These are triple cut valves when they did the valve job, and ported. So this has all been ported here. So I don't know if we can get a good shot inside there. So that's all been ported. A little bit dirty right now, but
They've been sitting for
this one got a little cleaned up. So here's the intake side. If I can get a shot inside there.
Oh, there you go.
But you can see the valve guide back there has all been cut down. There's no more notch in there. Okay. And so these are going to flow 10 times more, that's an exaggeration, than the 317 heads over there.
We'll just say a lot better.
A lot better. And the cut on the underside has filled in the combustion chamber far more than the 317s. So the guess is that the compression might go from the 9-to-1 that I currently had to somewhere as close to a 10-to-1. So we'll see how that works out. So anyway, these are the new heads that are going on here.
And
And then-
lifters, rods.
These are the lifters that I did have on there. The 1.7 ratio for the lift. And then we've got the push rods, which are the 400 push rods at 0.80 thickness. So they're much stiffer to handle the higher compression springs. And then we're going to do, and here's the old intake that came off of there. That's basically your sheet metal aluminum intake. The 102 millimeter throttle body is going to go back on there. There's all valve covers. Got a
What's the upgrade on the fuel rails? You say you got different ones.
the fuel is just cosmetic, really. You know, instead of going with the black, and we're going with the fast red. And no improvement there. But the injectors are going to get swapped out. These injectors are 1,000 cc, 100-pound injectors, which is like dumping bucket loads of gas into the engine that it could not burn. So it was very, very difficult to tune the engine with those injectors in there. So those are coming out. All right, so new bumper. So that one came from Classic Industries. And we have a new LS1 water pump because of the intake manifold that's going on there. So this neck has changed. It did come out from the top. So this one now comes out from the front. So that was a necessity. And new head gaskets, exhaust manifold, new gaskets here, and the fast LSXR intake for 102.
Can you explain the airflow?
Yeah. So the airflow in these guys, if you can see inside here, have a trumpet type channel in them. So basically air comes in, comes all the way across this channel and out that port, and the opposite ones go the opposite direction. Longer.
Difference between that and this.
Yeah. So that one is a straight shot down, very short. Okay. That will lower your torque. And with these and all the bench testing that they did, the longer the channel, the more torque that you get out of it. So that is supposed to add somewhere in the neighborhood from going from that old one to this one, might be roughly 30, 40 horsepower, maybe 50. I don't know. All right, new plug wires, new chrome rings for the hood because the ones that are on there, extremely pitted. Right, so those are coming off. All right, what else? Gas tank sitting over there, which is going to have a in-tank fuel pump, and I'll get rid of that squeal that we hear every time I turn on the key. Here we have, because we're going on with new injectors, these are 60-pound injectors, if I can get the right angle here, 60-pound, and they're a little shorter. So for this fast LSXR, and to go with this mount, if I can get right in here, this type of mount, it's not an adjustable mount, okay? So with that, you get these little extender caps that pop on the top of the injectors that reach the perfect distance. So that's what I've got. Sorry, didn't have it on it. So a little extender cap here.
And then here you can show them the injector itself.
Yep, and there's my injectors. What's going on? These are 60. So that is going to make it so much easier to have Matt come over and tune this thing because the computer is going to behave so much better with 60-pound because it matches all of my components far better. So now you can see. So slightly different injector plug than these guys over here. So you can see the difference, right? Those are more square. So in order to handle that, we have all of these little adapters. So those get put in there to convert to the 60-pound injector. Okay, so it takes it from the plug harness that I have and flips it to that plug. So my harness plugs in there, and that goes into the injector. Okay, and wire organizers, some just cosmetic stuff, all the bolts and whatnot to get everything attached, and new set of Velcro head bolts, and that is basically it. So that's the whole idea. One of the major,
Doing all this, what are you projecting to get power-wise and horsepower-wise?
well, the way it was before,
Yeah, what was your number before when you first started?
362 to the rear wheels.
Okay.
That was
And
the
then
horsepower
what are we
decrease.
projecting now after intake?
Somewhere's over 400. That's what I'm going for.
Pretty good increase.
Yeah.
Just for a what?
Yeah.
A $900 intake system, and new injectors.
Right.
That's
Right.
too shabby.
Expensive intake, but
Yeah.
it's what the engine needs. We are going to do a major change with the coils and not put them back on the valve covers. Did we bring the valve covers in from the truck?
No, they're in the truck.
They're still in the truck. All right,
Yeah.
so I'll show you those. I'll put a photograph of those on there. But the idea,
But they do match the same.
correct? Yeah, the
XR.
right intake exactly. So we're going to be taking the coils off the valve covers and clean all that up right there, and take that pressure. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, go ahead. Now you point.
Take this pressure regulator off of here, and then likely mount that over there on the fender.
Like in this area.
And clean up this whole area right here. And then Lance is going to fabricate a bracket to hold all 8 coils across the back of the firewall here. And it's going to be kind of prototyping it, try to figure it out as we go, because we're not sure exactly how it's supposed to fit. But we're going to be using these little kits right here. This bracket setup that basically you take 2 of these, 2 of these, and these all get stacked like this with the coils all in between them, all right? And then these are the spacers and the rods that go through them to basically take all of these and stack them sandwiched back to back. So there'll be 2 sets of those. And those 2 sets we'll put on the fabricated bracket.
Very nice.
So that's the plan.
Also, like how you're talking about the fuel situation, like how the buildup on corrosion on top of the piston heads.
Right, yeah.
And so this was what we found when we pulled the heads off. This is what our end goal, what we want after everything's all nicely and cleaned up.
Oh, and the other thing we got to do is these bolts come out of here, and they supplied the new bolts with the intake manifold because it is extremely low profile, and these bolts are too high.
Wow.
So they cut them down to about half to give us the space that we need, so we don't have to replace this.
You know about what, 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 high? And-
Like an eighth of an inch to drop it, because
Wow.
they just hit the bottom of the intake manifold, so they give you a new set.
Okay, very cool.
But yeah, all this will get all cleaned up and get ready to put everything together. We took this thing apart yesterday in what?
Couple hours?
Yeah, a
Give or
couple
take.
hours, had it completely stripped down.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Did you want to explain the power steering with the exhaust header and the struggle that we had there?
yeah, that was a bit of a pain. We have had to jack up the motor mount and put like the special punch system in there for handling this type of situation.
Motor mount adjusting tool.
Yeah, I mean, patent that, because that worked like a champ. Make some money on the side off that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
But to like have the power steering hose wrap in between the exhaust manifold, that was kind of
that was a nightmare.
really
And I
ridiculous.
I don't like this type of header. If any of you guys are looking to get the headers for, I think from 70 to 72 Nova, maybe even the 69, this type of header, when mounted on the head, there is still plenty enough room to take this tube and go down with it. I do not know why they went this route. Because with this mounted up, there's plenty of room to take this tube and go down with it. I wished I'd have known. But I hate that pipe goes across the top like that.
Gotcha.
But it is crowded. But
Oh yeah.
they work. They're good. They're not super expensive. I think these were like, I don't know, 200, 250 or something like that. And you can get upwards of 1,000 or more for a set of headers, which to me is just, that's crazy.
Well, it better be a damn good set of headers.
Yeah.
And then also the other thing that we had a frustration with was this side for the head bolts, because
Yeah.
the AC system is super, super tight right here.
Can't
So
get the head bolt
you have to finagle the head to kind of,
Right. And we had to leave the head bolt in.
you have to leave
Pop the head off.
These bottom 2 have to stay in, and then you just kind of wiggle her on out.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we've learned stuff as we go along, but overall, good time yesterday.
That heat covers thing right there.
Mhm.
That stuff works beautifully. I thought at some point it would be too much because that's I really don't know what that AC unit cowling is made of. It's like a fiberglass plastic mix of some kind or something.
Yeah.
And that heat shield protection stuff did a fantastic job. That's been on there for 4 years. Yeah, and it's done great. Only one little corner down there came unstuck, and we'll do all that up and get it cleaned up.
Right, because I was afraid that bolt was just going to rip this whole shroud up
right,
as soon as we start pulling it. Or we were going to have to loosen up this motor mount then and then roll the motor towards the driver's side to get
to get us the leverage.
a little bit more clearance. So that's another
Still, it's got
option.
a bevel there. It may still not have come up.
Exactly, even though you have this little indention here. So, that's also another option that you can do is if you needed to, you can undo this motor mount, reattach the driver's side, and then roll the motor to give yourself some more clearance.
Right.
But other than that, yeah, we were turning and burning yesterday, got a lot of things pulled out. So everything kind of just worked out.
Yeah, turned out good. So,
And then tomorrow.
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You.
At some point, I'm going to swap this out because this is on the wrong side. One of the kits that you can get is this radiator kit is for the Nova LS conversion, and it puts that tube on the other side. Obviously, the reason for it is because the supply tube comes out this side over here. So that way you have just a little shorty hose that goes on there rather than trying to sink this thing across through a real crowded area in front of this fan. And this is electric. But that's the edge of the
With
fan
the
right
intake plus the
all
the
this
intake
stuff up
tubing.
here. Big
Yeah.
old huge tube in here, and you just got to snake it through everything, and it's a
For
bit
sure.
of a pain. So if you do these kind of conversions, get the radiator, get the thing swapped over, or take yours. Like mine particularly, this is not a stock radiator. This is an aluminum radiator. Cut that off, set it up on the other side.
Right.
But here, you've got the bowl over here. I don't even know if that's doable on that side.
Right.
Because I think it's straight down. But
For sure.
consider that when you do an LS swap, get that on that side.
Well, because and like you said, the way that the inlet connector on that new water pump is straight up instead of over the top and elbowed.
Right. That's
So-
the main reason I had to get the LS1 water pump is the tube on this one came straight up and it was pointed straight forward. So I took a torch and heated the front of it and took a pair of vice grips and tweaked that over to get it pointed that way. So then my radiator hose had to come out of here across, loop all the way around and come back into the water pump. I mean, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
Save yourself the hassle, get the LS1 water pump, swap the radiator out.
Perfect.
Big change.
Good deal. And then you want to tell them our process for tomorrow?
Yeah, so tomorrow is get the whole reassembly back on there. Get the heads on it, get the intake on it, and and that's the number 2 reason to get the LS1 intake or LS1 water pump is that when you put anything like an LS1 type intake on there, the throttle body and everything is dropped down much farther from my old intake by about 3 to 4 inches. So everything is going to be sitting really low down here. And when you do that, that throttle body, the linkage assembly on the side of the throttle body goes right into the neck of the truck type water pump, the LQ4 water pump. And that's one of the primary reasons you got to swap to the LS1 water pump. Super important. I didn't realize that until I was watching videos.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, like, oh, wow, look at that. Looking straight down, it's like, bam, that linkage is going to hit right onto the water pump neck. Primary reason you got to go to the LS1 water pump and get the neck out the front, for sure.
And hopefully that helps somebody that'll be doing this project in a different car or the same car. So you never know.
Which is why I do these videos. So, I mean, trust me, guys, that was a big leap for me to go from the 350 small block, which I didn't show you.
Yeah.
So there's the original engine. And it's an amazing engine. It's really, really good. That's a 4-volt main, right? So usually you can tell by the size of the harmonic balancer how thick that is. Chances are if you see something like that, unless someone has swapped it out, which is unlikely, that when they're that thick, because normally they are approximately that thick. Take about that much off, so about 2/3 the size of that, and that's a 2-bolt main. But this size is 4-bolt main. And sure enough, I stuck my camera feed up inside there, the little snake camera, and it's got 4 bolts on the 3 center caps. And of course, the end caps are always 2-bolt, but the 3 center ones are 4-bolt. But I mean, shoot, look at the size of the heads, right? Tiny, large, right? So that was the complete redesign, is to get massive flow through these heads. And that's why that engine doesn't do so well, because it's being choked off, with velocity, for air velocity. So that's why they cannot hardly get that amount of horsepower out of those engines without dumping thousands of dollars into them. So that was the main decision maker to go LS. Not to mention, when I moved in here, found out that Matt Happel was down the street, and I went down there and visited him, told him what I had going on, and had no idea who he was. It's just his dad came by and said, "Yeah, you should talk to my son about the car that you're working on." So I did. And here he is standing at the front door. First thing he says, "You just stick an LS in that thing." And it just kind of took me off guard. It's like, why would I do that?
Running perfectly fine. Why would you?
Right. Because all my old days were working on the 350. I know them backwards and forwards. And it's like, I was just chatting with him and said, "Yeah, stick an LS in there." It's like, I knew nothing about LS engines, like zip. And I'm still just learning. But here you got Matt Happel's, those LS motors backwards and forwards, and he helped me out big time. He comes over and tunes it and so on. So when we get this thing all put back together, so today is Tuesday. We got a busy day going on, but Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to be working to put this thing all back together. Matt's going to come over, put a bass tune in it. We're going to get it running, and then we're going to head down to the dyno and see what it's got. So there'll be another video for that.
Super excited to see that happen.
Yep.
Definitely. And a huge reward is to know that money well spent obviously is paying off. That's everybody's end goal. But I'm interested to see how much of a gain they're going to get just by, let alone that intake. Because I was impressed with that intake manifold just by its sheer hot rodish vibe, the look, the polish, very clean, very flashy. And then to go back to just a horn style LSX R, plastic intake, you're like, oh, you're taking the flash out of it.
Right, yeah. Well, that was the primary reason I went to that intake, because it's got the bling to it, right?
Exactly.
But going from the LQ4 truck intake that was on here to the flashy one, I lost somewhere around 25, 30 horsepower. So I went down.
Yeah.
But I wanted the bling, I wanted the look, because this car goes to car shows.
Right.
And there's no way I wanted that ugly plastic black brick sitting on the top of this motor. It was horrific, and it's just like, no way.
Which of course is another reason when you go back to the plastic or an upgraded plastic intake, then of course you can put a flashy engine cover on there.
Oh, right.
Or
Yeah, you can
dials,
Yeah.
anything that you want with that. But to know the difference of a horsepower loss from going
To that
to this flashy one.
And then on top
super
of that-
disappointing.
Yeah, right,
Definitely.
right. To get the flash, you lose horsepower.
For sure.
But then to go from the original truck intake up to the fast LSXR, they say gains from a stock engine is approximately 25 horsepower.
So not only are you
So if
getting
I
your
lost
20
25,
back, now you're
and
getting
I'm going to gain 25, we're talking 50 horsepower.
right out of the gate.
Right.
Just by going back to the.
But I like to be conservative. If I see 25 and 30 by doing the switch, that's good. Going to those heads, another 25, 30,
That's a warning.
I'll be happy with that, because my goal is break the 400. I want to break the 400 to the rear wheels. And this is totally naturally aspirated, right? There's no turbos on here, there's no Pro Charger on here, there's no Supercharger on here.
No,
it's
it's nothing.
strictly
Yeah.
NA.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
It's going to be
big
exciting
time.
on Thursday if it all pays out. Play
Yeah,
out.
yeah. And we'll have the whole video of the dyno and stuff like that from start to finish. So,
Without a doubt.
Matt's going to go through a number of runs on this thing, probably somewhere between 3 or 4 runs on the dyno. to get it all dialed in, and hopefully we see some good numbers. And one of the things, again, kind of repeating myself, those injectors are going to help Matt and this engine and this car get tuned in really nice, because
It's gonna wake it up
way over the top with 1,000 cc. I thought, I'm thinking old days, old school.
Higher numbers, more
Stick an
power.
850 double pumper on that bad boy, right? That equals horsepower, right?
Yeah.
And then you're blowing black smoke out the back, and half of it is gasoline, right?
Exactly.
So that's the idea. So now I'm getting more dialed in, because the first round was like, put some stuff on it, get it running, make it look cool, take it to the car show.
For sure.
And it sounds cool, and it's got some really nice horsepower.
Oh, it sounds great.
Yeah,
Mm.
I love the sound of it. Yeah.
Mm.
2.5 inch exhaust.
Yeah.
But this is something I'm very proud of. And I see Lance yesterday driving it,
Oh, yeah.
so over the top.
Oh, that was good stuff.
Yeah, that was
You know,
cool.
and now to have
And
the
you look cool
opportunity-
in there with your whole
Oh.
the look that you got going on. It's like
I-
you
I
on the
was-
drive.
I looked comfortable but nervous because I was like, man.
But you were in cloud nine, man. You were
yeah.
just like,
I was on a whole different level.
Yeah.
Doing that.
yeah.
And then now, if everything plays out, we're able to drive it again with different and larger parts on this engine. I hope to notice a difference. I'm sure we will right out of the gate. My dad thinks that it's going to be a lot more responsive, super snappy.
Be snappy, because the
Uh,
torque's gonna jump.
Because she's already,
Going
she
from
was
that to that,
pretty
take-
snappy, by itself. But to have it even more responsive, it's going to be.
And I've got
it's gonna be
the
awesome.
photo snapshots and even a video of the original dyno. So
Oh,
I've got the numbers on there. I've got the
So you
the
knew it
graph.
before, and
Oh, yeah.
back then and now, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we'll see where the increase, where the torque pops in, and what peak horsepower is, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be able to do a little comparison. So
Oh yeah,
that'll be
without
fun.
a doubt.
So I'll take some images and I don't think I can overlay them, but do them side by side so you can see.
Oh yeah,
But that'd be cool stuff.
for sure. And for everybody that's watching, I want to take the opportunity to definitely say thank you for letting me drive it, and thank you for letting me work on it.
Unforgettable memories.
This was definitely one of those, the whole cliche, father son build a hot rod together, blah blah blah. But
No, hey,
when you hear about it, it's one
pause
thing,
right
but
there.
when
I
you
mean,
do it,
that
it's
was
a whole different
epic for
ballgame.
me.
Well, because everybody's like, oh yeah, it's my father's son project. But when you tell somebody that story, you're like, oh, that's cool for you. I'm happy for you guys. But to do it, it's not just happy for you guys. Like, this is such an experience that I'm very, very thankful I got to have the opportunity to do. For my dad to fly me out here, where we work on this car, and then
Yeah, you're in Arizona.
so Phoenix, Arizona. And then to be able to cut loose and come out and just kill it. It's perfect.
There was a moment yesterday when we were tearing this thing down. I was leaning over the front here, you're leaning over the side, and we're just tooling at it,
He's working on the driver's side there and the passenger side.
And I said, "You see where we're at?
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
This was
Yeah.
a primary moment for me.
Super.
It's like
overwhelming moment.
checklist. Boom.
Yeah,
Here we are.
for
We're
sure.
gonna be working on it. So
And now tomorrow we'll slap it all back together, and then we just hope for that fire up. That's all I
yeah,
care
'cause we're doing a
about.
lot, right? We're moving the coils to the firewall,
Yeah.
putting the pressure gauge over there.
I just want to hear it
New
fire.
heads, new intake,
Yeah.
new injectors, new rails, new gas tank. with a different
Yeah,
fuel
new
pump,
tank as well.
right?
And
So we're changing up
Yeah.
quite a bit. So
I do
like
feel very confident enough that we'll be able to turn and burn on this super.
I think so, yeah.
very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it's, people can think like, oh, that's so intimidating. You got all these electronics and stuff in the computer. It's like,
Oh, this looks
it's
like a
so
mess.
complicated, right?
Yeah.
You know what? When Matt told me about going to an LS on it, it's like, whoa. I know nothing about it. That's all computer stuff. Because I'm an old guy now, right? So when I worked on my 70 Nova,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what was I, so I'm 60 now, so the 70 Nova, I was working on that thing when I sold the Thunderbird. When I was 18 years old, right?
Oh yeah.
So the thing, and I was a mechanic for many years, but the one thing I really dislike is the newer cars coming in, they got the cowlings all over everything and all the wires and the computers. Like, I don't want any part of that. And,
I have to take a moment to show everybody what you look like back in the day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What are you showing?
That video you leaning up against the Nova with the U-Haul trailer.
Oh
Yeah,
man, no.
and so there,
No bombs
yeah.
and all
Oh,
that.
look at that hair. Good times right there.
Oh yeah, long hair. You know, with, yeah.
Good stuff.
And you know what? I didn't even know what I had back then. Yeah. Oh man, we had to bring that up.
Of course. Well, because that way, you know, you have to have proof that, see, I had my Nova back in the day, you know? And I don't know, it was like all
I ain't lying.
or
I
something.
ain't lying.
Yeah.
But
The bell bottoms.
yeah, so I was so intimidated by that, you know. But here's the thing: Matt knows a guy, and the funny thing is, Andy is his name, and he lives in Oregon, in the Medford, Oregon area. And I said, "Are you kidding me? That's where I grew up. That's where I went from 13 to 20 years old. Is Medford, Oregon." I said, "You got to be kidding me." Anyway, side story. So that guy makes the entire wiring harness for you, plug and play, labels everything, puts all this nice, you see that red and black stuff there on the firewall, puts all that on the whole wiring harness.
Protected one. Yeah.
And he labels everything, so you just, okay, all right, this goes here, this goes there, here's your tack, you know, and everything that you need. And it's just plug it in. If you got no problem plugging wires together, then you can do this, right? It's super easy.
Mm-hmm.
So I did have some difficulty with the computer on it. But the problem was when I got the LQ4 from the junkyard, they gave me the wrong computer. So it wouldn't fire right. It would not run the, what is it? The mass airflow sensor on the throttle body. Would not read it. And that engine needs that, or it will not idle. It will not run good. It's just, it gets sick, right? So once I figured out, you know, I was showing Matt what was going on. He said, "I've got a computer for that." We swapped it and picked right up, and that was the whole issue. So I had a bit of a problem because they gave me the wrong computer with the LQ4.
Right out of the
So
gate.
watch for that. Yeah, right out of the gate. Yeah.
Well, and that in itself, I feel can be super intimidating because I feel like the standard 350, it's fuel pump, fuel delivery, open the carburetor,
Right.
it's running. In
Adjust the
time.
jets. Yeah.
You know, where this is one sensor reads another sensor. That sensor tells this computer to do this sensor. And I'm having that kind of confusion and also a little bit of shakiness with that 302 because I have that harness for that. I've contemplated so many times just pulling the intake off of it, stripping it down to a bare 302 and putting a carburetor setup on it.
Right.
But
Because that's what you know.
yeah, this is also my wife's car, my 64 Falcon, and I want it undeniably reliable for her fuel injection. I don't want to have to rejet it. I don't want to have to worry about if she's going to fire up the next day or not, you know. And so, because she's going to be driving it all the time, and I don't want to get that phone call. So, I'm learning as I'm going along by having this opportunity as well.
Yeah. So just don't be intimidated by it. And you know, with these old cars, Novas, Camaros, Chevelles, El Caminos, whatever, they sell all the kits to drop that engine right into your existing frame. You do have to swap out the oil pan because on the LQ4, you got this big bulky, you know.
Is it a front sump
8-quart
or a rear sump?
It was front sump.
Front sump. Okay.
At the time. No. This one is rear sump.
This one is now, but the one before.
Correct. Yeah,
No,
because
it's a
with this
front
oil tank, you get the new pickup tube,
Yeah,
which runs it right back to the
for sure.
the deeper part of the oil pan. But you need the shallow one because of the cross members in the Novas and the Camaros for late 60s, early 70s, right?
And what oil pan is that?
It's an LS conversion oil pan for this car.
So that's all you would have to look
Yeah.
up.
So you tell me, you know, I've got the 350 small block in there. Here's the 72 Nova,
Right.
and I'm putting the LS in there. Okay, well, here's your oil pan.
Done.
Right. Yeah. Done.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's conversion.
And it comes with the pickup too to adjust.
Everything you need. Perfect. Everything you need just bolts right up.
Good deal.
And they also, the one I got gives you ports for an external oil cooler. I did not put that on this one, you know, because this is basically, it's a show car and a Sunday driver, so.
And it's also Pennsylvania.
Correct.
I don't think you need a cool oil cooler here, but
Yeah, you drive slower up here,
yeah.
unless Lance drives.
No. Also true.
Also true.
So, but yeah, you know, and then we'll be posting videos, or we'll make another video of us
reassembling
Yeah.
and that
Fire on
fire.
the drive, and
Yeah.
we'll take first spin on Friday and
For
see what
sure.
it's got. So
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got videos of getting on it, the sound, the pull, all that nature. So when he starts doing all his computer magic, you'll see all that. Amazing feeling. Good times all around.
yeah,
So
just having you drive and the feeling of, it's a lot higher heart rate kind of a deal.
well,
Because I'm not
in
in
control
control.
of your baby.
I'm not in
Yeah,
control, right?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just the passenger.
for sure.
So yeah, I had to swallow my heart there a few times.
And then let alone to be in the passenger seat and then feel the difference of not holding the wheel and shifting and banging on the gears, to be able to enjoy the car
And you get
from
all the
passenger,
sensation rather than thinking about
thinking about driving. Now you just
Control.
gotta whoa,
right,
and
right.
it's a whole different feeling as an owner of the car, but also very sketchy because you're not driving.
Yeah. It's cool to hear
Yeah.
your response of having not driven this car.
Oh, at all.
Or a car like this
For sure.
in
Now,
20 some odd years, right?
Have
20
I?
years.
Oh, exactly. I mean, I've been in it. I've got friends of mine. They all have nice cars and things of that nature, but it's not necessarily to like how this is. Like two buddies of mine just picked up Novas as well. It's like everybody's getting Novas now.
Also blue.
Yeah. Also,
So
both
three of
and
us
I'm
now.
like, clearly I'm out of the loop.
Yeah.
So now I'm just I'll paint my Falcon blue.
I'll get you closer.
And so, yeah,
We might let you ride with us.
possibly. However, Ford and Chevy, you know how that is.
Right,
And so, but just to experience this, I would have liked to have driven it with the stock 350 in it versus now the LS in it.
I mean, 90
To
days.
notice
90
that
days.
difference and that lag and now the immediate response. That would have been a cool feeling. I'm glad that you got to have that opportunity as the owner of the vehicle as well. So that was
Yeah. It
pretty
would
cool.
have been
Pretty
wow,
cool.
It would have been a wow moment for you.
having a
driven
no
this car in
brainer for
350.
sure.
Because that one, I mean, it's got, a double pumper 650 on it and stuff, but there's nothing else done to it. And well, I take that back. It does have a bit of a cam in it and stuff, but by
This
no
one has a
means,
cam.
yeah, that one does.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's got you saw the video when I first got it. It's got,
Oh, yeah.
to it and stuff.
Yeah, it's got some chatter.
But the horsepower, I mean, that would be lucky to see somewhere between 275, 300 horse max at the flywheel. Right.
And then
Every time I took it on these back roads, that same road,
Yeah.
to the floor, and it's like, whoa.
barely got
Yeah.
That's a lie.
It's like, oh, man, we got to do something with this. Which, it's like,
Now
I'm
with
gonna
this
tell you,
Joker.
now with that,
Yeah.
you got to be careful.
Oh yeah. Yeah. This
Really,
one,
really careful.
I was when you first got on it, and I was like, oh yeah, stiffen your neck up. Like,
Tighten up your front neck
Yeah.
muscles. Hold your head up.
yeah, I couldn't even tell you the last time I had to do that. And so
Good thing we had the headrest.
Oh, man, yeah, big
whiplash out of it.
and so to notice like how you're saying the 90-day difference.
Yeah.
Highly recommend you do something like this if you have the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, how much
It
was
is
the
easy
block
money
from
horsepower.
the junkyard?
The whole LQ4 was $850 for the whole thing. And you get everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, to be brutally honest, it's a mess. It's a huge mess of wires. They're gunky, you cannot even see the block, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got these old rusty manifolds on there and stuff, and it looks like garbage, but let me tell you. And I'm getting 362 horsepower to the rear wheels. I don't know what the flywheel horsepower is, but it's in the high fours, right? It's got to be.
Right.
Maybe even 500. I don't know. I might be stretching it, but
For sure. Well, and then another buddy of mine wound up getting an LS because, and put it in a C10, and he tells me the same thing. $800 to $900. I mean, you're ready to rock. That's training, motor.
no,
all
no
the-
training.
You didn't get the training.
Just the
you want
engine,
this?
yeah.
You can
The
do that.
training
Back
would have
home.
been. I mean, I could have got it with it,
Mhm.
but it was one of the it's the L80E or something like that. I mean,
Oh,
really nice
Ford-
training, but I did
Ford
not want an
Yeah.
automatic in this car.
No
No.
way.
Yeah.
No way.
I mean, yeah.
Um,
if I was going to do that, I'd put it on the drag strip or something like that. And
Oh,
you
for
know,
sure. For
pull
sure.
some nice low numbers. I have no clue what to do, but that would be, if you're going to drag it, go automatic. You don't want to go stick shift, honestly. But for a driver and that feel
Mhm.
and the horsepower when you hit each gear
Mhm.
under your own control, you can't top automatic is out of the picture.
Very true.
But that transmission, I had to go back, and the transmission, which is a 5-speed, but it came out of a '06 Chevy Tahoe. All
And
right,
I didn't
so-
even know you could get stick shift in a Tahoe. I thought they were all automatics.
No, it's definitely a stick shift, yeah. I mean, from out of Tahoe, yeah.
Wow.
And, when you look at those, they say, well, they're rated for about, 300 horsepower. So, you're going to break that thing. Well, you know what? Matt's friend, who runs fabbot.com, he put that exact same transmission in his 800 horsepower turbocharged LS1 and lights them up, jamming gears. Now, he took it to the limit, right? He's adding more power adders and stuff like that. He eventually broke his transmission because he beat it to death. But I have many videos of him getting it on, and smokes are rolling and jamming the gears, and it holds
Rated
steady
for 3 and he pushed it to 8.
Yeah, well over 800.
And it held it for a while.
Oh yeah, for a good long while. Good long while.
So you're pretty confident in
Oh,
the
and I have
transmission
that
that,
horsepower.
yeah, and you're only pushing if we break 400
Right.
on Thursday.
Exactly. Yeah.
For sure. Well, that's always a plus.
Yep. So yeah, don't be afraid to do the conversion. It's complicated. It's a learning process, but now that I've done it, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Without a doubt. Well, I guess that about sums it up.
Yep, that's probably a wrap for this round. So next time you see me on my next video, this will be put together. We'll video putting it together and kind of showing what we're doing, because you guys know me. I show you everything. I don't show you, hey, here's what I'm going to do, and all of a sudden, poof, snap your fingers, and here's everything all done. I show
That's the
you
majority of
going
the videos.
through all the chitter chatter, the wrapping my knuckles and cutting fingers and everything.
I call them mantrums.
Yeah. What was the term you had the other day? The moment.
Momental.
Momentals.
Yeah.
Yeah, we invented a new word.
Yeah, momental. I was like, write it down.
Yeah, a mental moment. So those are
Mental
momentals. You heard it here first time.
Exactly.
Momental. Yeah, and I'll
Momental.
spell it out for you.
Yes,
So we're going to be using that. We're going to have some momental moments here.
for sure.
So till next time, thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Click the button at the bottom so
For
you
sure.
get notifications if you want to see more of these. Thank you so much for all of your support, all of your comments that you've been giving me. And we will see you next time. Adios.
See ya. See, that was good.
Yeah, that was good, man. That was a one-take deal.